Rose Pinciotto offers security and investment advisory services through Waddle Reed Incorporated, a broker-dealer, member FINRA and SIPC, and a federally registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through insurance companies with which Waddle & Reed has sales arrangements. The information presented on this show is solely for information purposes and is not to be construed as an offer to sell or the solicitation of an offer to buy any financial product or service mentioned. For more detailed information regarding any of the topics discussed on today's show, please call Rose at 206-839-3904.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, November 28th show, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's economy and our events that are happening and how it can affect your money. If you're listening to my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, I have Rose Pinciotto with Waddle & Reed, and we're going to talk about financial planning. Rose, thank you so much for joining me in studio today.
Thanks for having me, Tina. This is great.
And a little background about Rose. She runs her investment and financial planning practice in Seattle through Waddle & Reed. Rose opened her practice with Waddle & Reed in 2012 and holds her Series 7 and 66 Series licenses as well as insurance licenses. Rose has a passion for working directly with individuals and families at all stages of their financial planning. Her mission is to help provide a roadmap for her clients to achieve financial success and security through their services to them with integrity and professionalism. And I'm excited to talk about financial planning with you today, Rose, because as I said in the intro, it is the end of the year and people are always thinking about planning and getting things set up for the new year. And we have a lot of our listeners that have families and want the best for them. And so your financial planning and preparing is really important. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your approach when helping your clients, Rose.
Well, thanks, Tina. Actually, my approach is really simple. I know my clients well. I treat them with respect, and I consider their success as my success. As you know, I was in the mortgage business for many years, and I started doing financial planning about 5 years ago. I really kind of loved the mortgage business, but I felt like I wanted to be able to provide more of a platform for people. So I became a financial advisor, and so now I'm able to offer investments, insurance, and comprehensive financial planning services to help individuals and families.
So, Rose, let's talk about a comprehensive financial planning.
Great. Well, comprehensive financial planning is more than just retirement planning. For most of us, we have a certain level of income, and our dollars are being pulled in many directions. So a plan helps you to build a roadmap for using your resources most effectively with your personal priorities in mind. For young families, it might be balancing retirement against saving for education, or do they have enough insurance in place? For others, it could be turning their savings into a cash flow for retirement, or how to pay for long-term care costs. It really kind of depends on what your priorities are and also where you are in the spectrum of life.
So, Rose, let's talk about the difference between retirement planning versus financial planning.
Great. So with retirement planning, there are two aspects to retirement planning. First, you have a date sometime in the future, and you want to make sure that the current savings plans that you're doing is going to, add up for enough income for you to live on later on in your life. So you want to make sure that you're on target to reach your goals. The second piece is if you're getting ready to retire and you've been saving all your life, you now have to figure out a way to take that money that you've been accumulating over the years and turn that nest egg into income that can, provide for you for your retirement. So now we want to figure out. I'm sorry, I'm totally lost it here.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead and just take it back from wherever you want.
So the second piece.
You're sounding great.
So the second piece is you're getting ready to retire and you have to build up your nest egg over time. Now you want to figure out how to turn that money that you have accumulated over a lifetime into a stream of income for yourself in retirement. It's very focused planning, and it's one small piece of the puzzle. It's an important piece, but it's also limited in its scope. There are many pieces to the financial puzzle, and so it's important to see how they all fit together. We are all not just on a path to retirement. We're often on several paths at this one time. So with comprehensive financial planning, we're trying to look at all the pieces together and see how we can make it work.
Makes so much sense, and that's so important because you can't have one piece in place without having, like you said, the that's a hard word for me to say today too, comprehensive plan, little tongue twister today. So Rose, at what age, if I've got a listener, somebody listening right now and they're wanting to know what age really should they start thinking about their financial planning?
So honestly, Tina, the best answer for this is there's no time like the present. When it comes to planning, no matter where you are and what stage of your life, you can benefit by putting a plan together. The key is getting started as soon as possible. But it's also making sure that once you do a plan, you just don't put it on a shelf and forget about it. As you go through different cycles in your life, your planning priorities will change as well. So you have to think of it like a living document that changes in sync with your life changes.
So anytime that there's any type of life change, relooking at that. And if there isn't life change, do you advise to take a look at it on an annual basis?
Yeah, we usually look at it on an annual basis.
Okay.
Just, if nothing else, to give people a sense of that, look, we've made some progress.
Yes. So what about the first step for somebody that hasn't thought about their financial planning and they're just starting the process? What is the first step, Rose?
So what I tell my clients is that the plan that I put together is only as good as the information that they give me. So kind of like with you with the mortgage, I have to gather as much data as possible. So I'm asking them for their income, their expenses, their assets, the liabilities. It's really helpful if they can put that together. And then this way we can establish where they are today.
Okay. And what about the next step?
So once we know where they are today, we have to figure out where they want to go. So what goals are you trying to reach? Like I said, maybe for someone it's saving for education for college. So how much is that going to cost? How do we make that work for you? And then after that, what we do is from there, once we have those two pieces together, we can start building a roadmap from where you are to where you want to go. So when you get in your car to go somewhere, and you look at a map or a GPS to get you where you want to go, right? So think of financial planning as that GPS for your financial goals. Here is where a plan can really help you create a step-by-step guide.
Really important. Try to get somewhere without that GPS, and it's not a lot of fun. And comparing it with the financial arena as well,
Right.
You've really got to have that roadmap. So what about the biggest reaction that you see from clients that are at the end of their planning process?
Well, actually, before we talk about that, I just kind of want to add one more thing.
Okay.
Once you put the plan in place, where the rubber meets the road is having the plan, is making sure that you're following the plan.
Makes sense.
Okay, so you have to make sure you have an accountability partner kind of in there to help you with that. It's kind of like a diet. We can all put together a good, healthy diet plan for ourselves. Following it's the hard part.
Yeah. So as the representative and working as their financial planner, are you assisting in that arena to make sure that you're checking in with them to see that they're doing what they need to do?
Right. So we're following up with them. Usually when we do the plan, we do action steps. And so we put dates on the action steps and say, okay, you're going to get this done by this date. Or, and then we're following up on that date to see, did you get that done? If you didn't, why not? What do we need to tweak? What needs to make changes?
And with all the tools and resources with technology right now, what you're able to provide with your clients and really showing them what happens when they miss one of those steps, how it's going to ultimately affect where they're going to be and in their retirement age. I mean, that can be kind of shocking and really be an accountability partner, I would imagine, on its own, just being able to see those numbers, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
So getting to the biggest reaction that you see from clients that are at the end of the planning process, what is that, Rose?
So when we do at the end of the planning process, we do the presentation of the plan, and what I see most from people is relief. And not so much the relief that it's over, it's more about relief that they have taken something that was unknown and frankly a little overwhelming, and they turned it into a tangible object for themselves. So now they have this step-by-step plan that can help them take steps towards their financial future. It's the part of the plan that I like the best. I mean, it really is. It's being able to help people feel that empowerment.
Yes. And again, just having that plan and knowing exactly where they're at, good or bad, you've got the numbers, and then you can kind of tweak and figure out what you need to do to get to where you want to go.
That's exactly right.
Yes. So if you were going to empower my listeners to take one small step today, what would that be, Rose?
So we talked about a lot of stuff, and it can seem a little overwhelming. And the takeaway I would like your listeners to hear is that you don't have to do it all at once, and you don't have to do it alone. Big changes can happen when we begin to take small steps. It can be something as small as curbing your spending by eating out one less time per week, or upping your retirement savings by 1% percentage point. So it's always that first step that's the hardest. Just after that, it's just a matter of putting one foot in front of the other. So just make that step today to do something positive towards your financial future.
Yeah, and I like how you talk about budgeting, Rose, because I do that the same in the mortgage arena is, just understanding what that cup of coffee at Starbucks, which if you do that 5 days a week on your way to work, or 5 days a week on your way to work every morning, you're probably talking maybe $80 a month. I mean, for me in buying potential, we're talking about at least $10,000, maybe $15,000, $20,000, depending on what the rates are doing. And I would imagine same thing, that $80 a month can have a huge impact in what that ultimately is going to do in their retirement years. So again, having the tools and looking at the numbers and the plan is a pretty exciting place to be.
That's exactly right.
So what do my listeners do, Rose? I mean, I've got an amazing financial planner right here in studio today. What do you suggest in the first steps in making a decision and moving forward with who you're going to utilize as your accountability partner and your financial planner?
So I think you use the same process as you would use for making any major purchase. First, you ask your friends and your family or other professionals that you know for referrals. Then you do a little research on them prior to setting up any interviews. You check out their company website, your personal website. You can also go to FINRA is the organizing body that kind of oversees financial advisors, and they have a site called finra.org. And you can go in there and do a broker check on their name, and it'll give you a list of all their activity in the industry. So once you get all that done, then you pick a couple of people that you want to interview. And when you're interviewing them, this is what I think that you want. I suggest that you look for someone that listens more than they talk. One of the best traits a financial advisor can have is to be a good listener. This is really about you and your goals. So when they do speak, are they speaking in terms that you understand? And if you don't understand them, do they rephrase it so that you do? And then lastly, I would look for someone that you feel comfortable sharing your dreams and your fears with, because planning is really a very personal process.
Yeah, and just like the mortgage side of it, you really do have to work with somebody that you're comfortable with in opening up, because it's really disclosing everything so that you can help and coach them to get to ultimately where they want to get for their family.
Right.
So let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit. And you talked about a program you'd mentioned where you work with companies to help them provide financial planning and education to their employees. Can you tell my listeners a little bit more about that program?
Sure. Waddle & Reed has a program called Financial Wellness. And with this program, what we do is we team up with companies to bring financial planning directly into the workplace. The program offers financial education, and we couple it with the one-on-one coaching for each participant. So the classrooms can be custom designed to the demographics of the company, and each participant at the end of the course receives their own personal financial plan. So it's actually a really great way to help your employers stay on track.
Perfect. So, and if you're listening and you want more information on that, you can always call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com. So, Rose, thank you again for coming in and joining me in studio. I really appreciate it. If you could give your information to my listeners so they know how to connect with you directly, how can they do that?
So my direct line is 206-839-3904. You can also reach me through my website, which is Rose Pinciotto. I'm going to spell it RosePinciotto.wrfa.com, or through my email, which is rpinciotto@wradvisors.com.
Thank you so much, Rose. I really appreciate you
Tina.
coming in. And coming up next on the Money Hour, if you are in the investment market, you've got investment property, are you dealing with any tenant issues or any challenges that you have in time-consuming process of managing those rentals? If you are, today we're going to talk about the benefit of property management. And I have Holly Fearon with Remax Junction right here on 1150 AM at KKNW after this short break.